Hello. Today we're going to learn about scientific notation and how to multiply and divide numbers written in scientific notation. And to multiply and divide, it's just kind of all about rearranging or grouping the number that's written in front and the 10 raised to the power. Let's do a couple examples and hopefully this will make sense. If I gave you 2.3 times 10 to the fifth, and a lot of times you'll see it written in parentheses when they do this, times another number written in scientific notation. Oh, I don't care. Let's do a simple one. 2.0 times 10 to the seventh. When it comes to multiplication, we can actually rearrange all these. In other words, using the associative property and the commutative property, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the 2.3 times, so I'm grouping these two together, the 2.0 times, and then I'm going to group these two together, the 10 to the fifth times 10 to the seventh, and here we just do our basic multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. Watch your decimal places. It's going to end up being 4.6 times. Now we just use our properties of exponents. If I have the same base and I'm multiplying together, I add the exponents. So it's going to be 10 to the 12th. That would be our final answer. So again, it's just a matter of regrouping those first number that comes in front, the decimal parts, multiply them together, and then add the exponents on the 10. Now, there will be occasion where you might have to make some adjustments because this number will end up being larger than 10. Remember, scientific numbers can only be written with a number, that leading number here, larger or smaller, larger than 1 but smaller than 10. Let's do an example. Let's say we have 5.3 times 10 to the negative 18th times 2.2 times 10 to the negative 7th. Okay, well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to group the 5.3 times that by the 2.2 times, and then I'm going to group the 10s, the 10 to the negative 18th times the 10 to the negative 7th. Well, these should be fairly simple. We add those two together. It's going to be 10 to the negative 25th. Now here, again, I have no qualms with you grabbing a calculator to do your decimal multiplication if you need to. I can do this one pretty quickly. Again, I'm just going to do it this way. 6, 10, 0, 6, 10. So I got 6, 6, 1, 1. I have two decimal places. So that would be 11.66 times 10 to the negative 25th. But this 11.66, I can't have an 11. I can't have two non-zero integers to the left of the decimal. So what I have to do is move this decimal. Now remember, I'm going to take this 11 and make it smaller. I'm going to make it 1.166. And if I make this smaller, I have to increase the exponent on this by 1. I have to add 1. Now be careful here. This is a negative 25, and I'm adding 1. So it's going to be times 10 to the negative 24th because I added a positive 1 to a negative 25. So like I said, you might have to adjust because of this decimal ended up being larger than 10, or it could end up being smaller than 10. Let's do a division, because division is no different except we subtract the exponents and we divide those leading numbers. So for instance, let's give us something like, oh, I don't care, 482. Let's do 4.82 because it's going to obviously be a decimal times 10 to the 18th. And a lot of times they won't do this. They won't go divided by, oh, I don't care. I'm going to do a simple one, 2.0 times 10 to the 15th. What they'll do is they'll put it over 2.0 times 10 to the 15th. So rather than using this division symbol, they'll write it like this. Okay, then all we do is we divide the decimal parts. Grab a calculator and do it if you need to. I can do this one since I'm just dividing by 2. It's going to be 2.41 times. Now, what do we do with the exponents when we're dividing a common base, a base that are the same? I subtract. 18 minus 15 is going to be 10 to the third. And there's my final answer. Let's do one more. Let's do something like, I don't know, 1.44 divided by 1.2. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this wrong. 1.44 times 10 to the negative fifth divided by 1.2 times 10 to the negative 10th. Okay, so again, I'm still going to look at just those leading ones and I'm going to divide those. And if you need to, by all means, grab your calculator, do 1.44 divided by 1.2, and we get 1.2 of all things. So we end up with 1.2 times 10 to the, now be very careful here, because remember, we're subtracting the bottom one, negative 5 minus a minus 10, or negative 5 plus 10 is 10 to the fifth. And there would be our final answer. Now remember, if you do get a number here that's larger than 10 or smaller than 1, you need to make an adjustment. If you have questions, do please bring them to class.